Thanks for checking in with Down the Road Show. We're here at the Long Beach Comic Con 2011.
Randy's been there and done it. Will, the bus driver, as Hart said, is the poor bastard that had to drive the 73 RV around the country for, what was it, 11,000 miles?
10,000, yeah.
Crossed over on the way back, 10,000 miles. Will, actor, friend, partner, everything you can ask for him to do, he's done. Klinger, over there on the camera. Gaffer, we found him in Buffalo, dragged him back to LA with us, and now he's out here living the dream too, broke as the rest of us.
That's not bad.
So that's pretty much the gang that's here today.
I love it.
Yeah.
Great oratory. So these guys roped in their friends, their family, they got money from anybody they could mug on the street. They didn't do Kickstarter.com where they're begging strangers on the web. They went to their family members and people they know and just mugged them for that money. And what's important is that he didn't do the whole thing. There's a lot of ego involved in filmmaking. So the fact that he made this film, and you know, most people don't understand, Chris is not a guy who's like a film geek. He's not a guy who spent his entire life in film school and he knows every camera and every damn lens and yada, yada, yada. A lot of this he made out of pure gut instinct. He made it out of what he knew a good movie was going to be. You don't have to go to film school. You don't have to do that. What you need to do is pick up a camera and make some damn movies.
Surround yourself by a lot of good people that feel the same way, just whatever it takes. I mean, it's been a total team effort. I mean, there's not one of us that's here that I would define by a position. It's just been a bunch of friends that learned what we had to learn to do what we needed to do. Something needed to get done. We either found the money to get somebody to do it, or we found somebody that we believed in, trusted, and wanted an opportunity and gave it to them. They screwed it up or fucked it up. We found the next person in line and kept moving forward.
And it's been great because they've been sending me these bulletins from the road and we're starting to air them on American Horror. So they shot like all this behind the scenes footage of all this crazy stuff going down on the tour. That's all going to be airing on American Horrors. All of it. Because when you watch American Horrors, you're going to see short horror films, you're going to see feature-length horror films, no commercial interruptions. You're going to get to watch the whole movie, no commercials. The commercials come in between the programs. You're going to be able to see really cool stuff like interviews with these guys, because I'm out there hustling. You know, I met Andrea at a film festival, we talked, we got to know each other a little bit about, hey, you do horror films, hey, I've got a horror film. They give me the film. I watched it that night when I got home with my crew. In fact, my camera dudes were all hanging out with me when we watched it the first time. And then when they left, I watched it again so I could focus on the film more. That's what I do. I go out and I find talent. And that's part of what you do as a filmmaker. I mean, you had to go through, it's not just, oh, I wrote a movie, I got some money, let's make a movie. Your cast is good. Why don't you tell me, or tell them a little bit about your cast and how you got them? Because you've got a maniac from Sleepaway Camp. You've got the weed whacker dude from Hell. I can't remember what he did, but he's fucking.
He was one of the original Chippendale dancers.
Original Chippendale dancers. See?
He still has the pictures
Dusty
up.
Stevens.
Very
Look him up.
nice.
Look him
Feathered
up.
hair, all of that.
There are pictures online of him and his Chippendale uniform. It's very common.
So think of the weed whacker guy up there. Weed whacker
A lot
guy.
younger and a lot thinner then.
Been a much smaller weed whacker back then.
So as you can see, you can find talent in so many different places. You know, and this is an industry where you can just bump into anybody anywhere. Anything can happen at any time. You don't even need to be in the film festivals. I mean, I met you, but you weren't screening your film in the festival. People seem to think they need to have the film festival. They have to be in a film festival. It's nice, but there's so many more avenues to get your work out there now. Can you tell them a little bit about how you're on Facebook? What do you mean you're on Facebook? What?
Okay. Well, we finished the movie, and we had started here right before the E3 conference and convention and all that, that Facebook might be having a VOD platform that they were going to be launching. But they hadn't officially said anything, so us feeling all very proud of having the post-production done and ready to move on to the next step as fast as everyone hopes that it will. Within a week, you're done. There you go. Yay, it's all out there. We drove up to the Facebook offices, and actually we lucked out. Hans's fiance knew the real Facebook office. There's the one that they put on the internet, which is to misdirect you to a different office. And his fiance, who also worked up in Palo Alto, let us know, here's the real address you want to go to. So we got to go to the real office that you see on social network that they try to mimic it all of. And very cool looking. They're a little more hardcore than you'd expect when you walk in the door, security everywhere. And we don't know what you're talking about a VOD department at all. Yeah, we'll take your stuff and we'll just thank you very much. And
We didn't get past the secretary.
she took our stuff. It was very nice of her. We appreciated that. You know, she didn't tell us to just get out the door. We didn't have to stand there and buzz like you do in Beverly Hills, feeling like a big old loser or can't get in the front door. And less than a week later, they started announcing, oh, we're just going to leak out a little bit of information about the VOD platform. And we found out the company that was going to do it. And funnily enough, they still had the CEO's cell phone number on the website. They hadn't yet changed over to an official business number. And we took full advantage of that. And the owner didn't know that his cell phone number was on the website either. But he and Chris talked pretty much. He was kind of, how did you get my number? I mean, that's really nice of you, but well, how? And we, told him, which we found out the next day his number was taken down from the website, which means, hey, they're right on top of things. That's good to know. And Chris and him just talked for quite a few days. We sent him the screener. He loved everything that we had been doing. He loved, a big part about it was we were doing our own promotions. We had an idea of how we wanted to market this, how we wanted to do it ourselves instead of ask someone else, like, go to Facebook, ask them, can you put all your money behind promoting our film, please? That would be awesome. That's the one thing they weren't prepared to do. They wanted people to be proactive in your own film. It's your baby, you can try and actually get it out there. So when they saw everything.
Because let me tell you guys, there's a lot of filmmakers out there that make the movie and then they're terrified to release it. There are a lot of great films out there, and it's been a real frustration for me as a distributor and a guy who's trying to book kick-ass stuff on my TV network. There's so many people that are afraid to go to the next level. There's so many people that would rather sabotage their own success than actually dare to fail, because you can't go forward unless you go forward. You have to get on that website. You have to go for those phone numbers. You got to go and dig and try, and that's how you win. That's how you get through. I just wanted to push that point because that's the kind of thing that you're just regular people. And you just knocked on doors, and they made it happen. So all that stuff about you got to do this, and you got to go to a James McKee writing seminar, and you got to know all these lens packages, right, Chris? Oh, you don't know all the camera packages? What do you mean you don't know all the camera packages? But he doesn't. He made a kick-ass movie. Who cares?
We knocked on a lot of doors, but we ended up getting through the back window, and they didn't leave it open.
Dad, keep with the story, because it's amazing. I didn't even know the part about the phone number on the website. Can you believe that shit?
I think his people got in trouble when he got off the phone.
Oh.
That was the number we put as the directory for the business. Thanks, guys. Thanks.
It was one of those things that a lot of this whole process has just been the right time and the right place. I mean, we've met the right people that we've needed at the right times. Whenever we've had to go out and find somebody, almost everybody that we've found or got involved with or has led to other people, we found through Craigslist. This entire movie was put together through Craigslist. And we continually have gotten lucky and just found, whether it's friends, family members, or a stranger, that when push comes to shove and our back's been against the wall, which has been more times than I ever thought it would be, somebody's always come out of the shadows, out of the darkness, and stood up and became that viable piece that we were waiting for and needed. And it just became a matter of, I'm the biggest pessimistic there is in the world, but at a certain point in time, the train was rolling so fast, it was just hang on and see where it takes us. And here we are.
Well, I know these guys have some freebies here, but why don't you add what you were going to say?
I was just going to say that when Chris and I originally started this film, we were going to do it for $5,000, just with Star Wars stuff.
Just the next step in the evolution.
And it was going to be, just a small little thing, and then we got this producer on board, and she brought us Felissa Rose, and then from Felissa became Chris Rabb, and
now we have a name. Now we actually got to know what we're doing.
I know. Now we have a jackass guy. It's like, it just kind of it steamrolled. I mean, it was literally like a snowball rolling down a hill. And $5,000 became what, 10, then it became 15, and all of a sudden, like, we're here. I mean, this, 2 years ago when we started we never would have thought this was going to happen. That we'd be sitting here talking to you guys after screening at a Comic-Con. I mean, it's been amazing. So I guess my point is be open to anything that might come out. Never turn down a good opportunity. I guess is the best word.
And another way to put it, as my old man would say, it is, can't never did nothing.
Exactly, what he just said.
So you guys got a lot of cool stuff to give away. So if you have a question, we have some signed autographed photographs. I believe we have some
Jonathan
music
Tiersten,
CDs.
and his DVD. He's a musician, Jonathan Tiersten. Will's got some DVDs there too. These are autographed by him. So if you guys love the second story, this is an autographed picture by him. What else do we have?
So let's take a question for these gentlemen. Who's got a question for us?
Oh, signed posters.
All right, we got a question for the beautiful lady in the back.
Thank you. You guys, your food is completely awesome. And what I love about it is that it doesn't look like anything I've ever seen or thought I saw before. So my question is, were there any absolute influences, anyone you were trying to emulate or any thought you were trying to convey in your movie?
One of the things that was very important to us, because we knew we wanted to put as much of our resources that we had, which were limited, into production value. So there was a lot of things that I think the movies waste money on that we couldn't afford to or didn't have the luxury of doing, and one of those biggest things is lots of locations. Because there's a lot of wasted money that goes with multiple locations as far as moving, time, different people, all those things. So if we stayed in one location, we could do more work in less time and do it better, and it also gave us money to get equipment and stuff. So when we had the better equipment and things like that, one of the ways that we chose to change things up instead of with that one location so it looked differently was doing different time periods, so the story was built around our limitations. And with the different time periods, you could change the look of the house, you could change the setting, the ambiance, and then once that kind of evolved, Randy started spitting around the idea of the anthology, and then the 3 stories developed, and then once we did that, we tried to emulate the styles of the time periods they were set in. So each one set in a specific generation based on the movies that we liked during those time periods. So the first one's got a lot of Hitchcock influence, it's a lot of off-camera violence and a slow build-up. Then the second one's more like your slashers, your 80s, where it has all the influences of dark humor, your gratuitous breast shot, all those type of things. And then the third one was more the modern horror movies of today, where it's just in your face, a lot of psychological and just pushing the envelope type of violence. And those were just the things, the pieces of the puzzle that we could do to make the best picture possible.
Next question. Wait. Well, okay, I'll get you, and then I'll get you, okay?
Very exciting.
With the stories, was it one person who was kind of coming up with it, or was it more of a collaborative storyboard? Because the stories were friggin' phenomenal as far as how jacked up and awesome they were. I was just like, you don't see this kind of stuff come out of people's brains anymore because they're afraid of that side. So was it like a collaborative primal effort of everybody's madness, or just one the same person in the back of the drawing board?
Oh, you're looking at it right here. He wrote the script. Originally,
And he's a fucked up dude. We were drinking late last night. Chris has got some issues, guys. If you couldn't figure that shit out from that fucking movie,
yeah, exactly.
Chris has got some issues. A little bit of issues.
And it all came out on film. But yeah, I originally was looking for a horror film to do. I'd just done another feature, and I was looking for a really good horror script. And I went on Craigslist, and Chris sent me the short of the last story. I'm like, this is phenomenal. I want to do this, but how do we make it a feature? And like, okay, we tried to stretch it. We tried to make it a feature. It wasn't really working. It was watering it down. I think we added detectives or something at one point. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff we did. It just watered it down. Like, okay, then the idea of the anthology came up. And we really had another director on. And we're gonna have 3 directors direct 3 different stories. And it didn't really work out with that other person, and her story was a little bit weaker. So we said, okay, Chris one day came home, and I'll let him take it over. He wrote the second story. And it just kind of all fell together, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the third story was written after a bad day at work where I just wanted to kill everybody. So I just took this piece of shit family that had no respect for anything or anyone and just slaughtered them. And let it sit for a while, because I couldn't make it a full length either, so that's how we ended up meeting. And then I had the first story, which was, well, if you got a family and they're in the basement, and kind of, there was obviously what's going to make a family turn on each other and start killing each other in the basement. Molestation was the easiest one, but I didn't want to go that route, so I went with the implied on that one. Then there was just this big hole in the middle, and I had no idea what to put there and tie it all together. And finally, we got to the time where it was push came to shove, and I had no choice but to come up with another story, so I went with the only thing I could think of at the time, was if I snapped and I started killing people, what would I do with my personality and my way of thinking and talking? And so that whole second character, the second killer, is kind of based off of my personality and my sense of humor.
What were you saying about issues?
I like it.
No, by the way, I do too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And the gratuitous shot was one of my favorites.
That's very good.
Nice. So we got this gentleman in the back here. What's your question, sir?
Actually, I don't have a question. I am not a fan of horror movies, anything scary, spooky. To me, I just look at it like it's a waste of my hour of life. My two little ones love this stuff. Every time it comes on, take them to the movies, they gotta see it now. So they drag me. She was down there and said, "Hey, gotta go see it." I tried to leave here 3 times, but because the storyline is such a hook, I had to wait. What's now gonna happen? 69, 2000 this, 2005. It was actually really pretty good. I actually enjoyed it. At the end of it, it was worth me sitting in here watching it. So when we leave here, I'm going to get all kinds of grief now. I'm going to end up having to start being a fan now. It was a
Let me
good
ask
job.
the kids, were the kids disturbed by it at all, or?
No.
No, I like this because this is exactly what. Jesus, the volume.
Thank you very much. By the way.
Thank you very much. Then we need to hear this kind of stuff because what's coming down from the government is they're saying, your kids, we gotta protect them. They can't figure things out for themselves. Oh, they're gonna imitate everything they see on TV like they're retarded idiots. Oh no, oh no. So it's really great to see an adult with a couple of young girls, and he's smart enough to realize that I raised smart children. And my children can tell the difference between fact and fiction because I'm a good parent and I take an active role in their life. And that's what I want to see more of. So thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
On a side note to that, I purposely tried to avoid the ghosts and the paranormal stuff and all that. Been there, done that. For number one, it's been there and it's so easy. Number two, I'm actually terrified of the dark and ghosts and blissful ignorance is my peace at night. But all that's what terrifies me.
So who else got a question? We got some more autographed pictures here. Come on, you guys. You're greedy. Come on, you want freebies. What's your question?
Best question gets a free collector DVD.
It's a good movie, and so far I've been having a hard time trying to find something new for a movie night. And they just say just for happy for now, you're gonna be able to screen on this one this time.
Yes, please watch it on Facebook and screen it for as many of your friends as you can.
Please go on the Facebook page. On the Facebook page, there's a review tab on the left. Please go on, put your reviews on there too. It's all about getting word of mouth from the fan.
Facebook's deleting that.
If you're trying to tell your friends that you actually liked it, there are some clips that are on the actual Facebook page. When you click on the Rent Now tab, you can just show some of the clips, so you can actually show them besides the trailer and be like, see, I was telling you there's a little bit of a story you might like, see? I'm just saying.
That kind of stuff helps when you get out there and you promote because people know these movie critics are bought off. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. Ooh, Dread Central, best horror movie since blah blah blah.
They gave us a good review, so I wouldn't.
Hey, I'm sorry. I don't give a damn. They're all bought out. They're all paid for. It's all bull crap, and we know it. So what we need is real horror fans to go out and say, I saw this movie and it was awesome. And this crazy maniac's got this new horror channel, and I can't wait to check it out because he's fucked up in the head too, just like me, because we're all crazy in the head because we're into this messed up stuff. And I'm the host of American Horrors. I choose all the fucking movies. I'm in charge of it. I interview everybody. I run around and cause all kinds of trouble. So these guys were brought to cause trouble. And these are the kind of creators that I want to help foster. We've been helping them, and we've been advertising their tour on American Horrors, and we've been pushing their behind the scenes. Their DVD's going to be coming out soon. You can pre-order it down at our booth. These are regular guys. The money is going to go to their rent, and that's not a joke. The money will literally go to their freaking rent, and they'll feed them, they'll eat their peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, they'll go, thank God Sandy bought that DVD.
The tour that we went on, literally, we gave up our apartment, sold all of our belongings, bought a $600 RV, painted it up, put what we couldn't sell in storage, and just went on the road for, I think, 53, 54 days. And just anywhere anyone would have us or take us in, we popped in the movie and did a show. And we've recorded it all, and we got clips, documentaries, the whole thing is part of the collector DVD set. But a lot of it's all on Facebook because that's where we posted it and that's where we've shared it as we went along to try and build like a social following. A big part of that is you guys and your opinions of the movie, whether it's good or bad, help push this along and help us have the ability to continue on with this and tell the story. Afterwards, what we do is we take confessions and have you guys, even if it's one line, one sentence, what you thought of the movie.
Yeah, we'd love to get you guys on camera, and we're going to put you on the air on American Horror.
And we share those. We share those on Facebook. We share them anywhere we can. If you see the trailer, some of the best ones have made the trailer. So please stop by and see our man Klinger and say what you thought of the movie, good or bad.
All right, so we got a question from this gentleman right here.
Well, my question is, families that were introduced into this, were they kind of influenced by other TV families that you wanted to really kill? Because I noticed that the 2005 family, the one guy almost looked like Ed O'Neill.
No, not really. I mean, the first one a little bit.
Hey, did you see it now?
Yeah.
I never thought of that, actually.
The first story was probably the only one that had a little bit of that because the dad, I wanted like the typical 70s TV show dad, and the guy that actually ended up playing that role, I did when I lived in Buffalo. I worked in collections for 10 years, and he was one of my managers. Yeah, Tim the Head. This guy was actually one of my managers for 9 years in the collection industry, and you see how he ended up. Yeah. But he just had the look of a 70s sitcom dad all the way, and I kind of wanted to I don't know, terrorize that image, but that's really the only one. The other ones were just
I thought he had a Robert
people.
Carey look.
Robert Carey.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what he almost looked like.
yeah. The biggest thing with all the characters was we wanted them all to remain anonymous. None of them have names, none of them have character names, and that was all done intentionally because we wanted them to feel like these could be anybody, anywhere, anytime, any city, any neighborhood.
But you know, Chris, that's actually something I'm glad you brought up because as a writer, it's a wonderful thing you did because it's so artificial in the movies.
You wouldn't believe how many people I had to fight and bitch about it.
No, it's really great because when you're hanging out at home with your friends, you're not going, hey Ted, pass me the butter. Hey Bob, how you doing? How was work today, Jimmy? Jimmy, it was great. Bobby, so, hey Mommy, how was it? Because people don't talk to each other that way in real life. When we're hanging out last night, it's like, well Chris, well Andrea, well Chris, well Andrea, okay Hart. You nailed that and it's such a small thing, but it's so important. It's such a naturalistic thing and I'm giving you a big compliment. You did a good job with that.
The anonymous part was a big part of the fear that, to me, that like the people you just don't know anything about are the people that scare me the most. And keeping them without names was really important to that mentality. And we had a few people that came along and they told us how things should be done and how this and that gets done. And you'll never cast anybody if you don't have a name for the characters. So there's one character that does have a name, and that's the killer in the second story. Because I was forced to give that person a name, in other words, they wouldn't try to find an actor or a character to play that role. So his name became John Dozy. And that's pretty much John Doe with the S-Y at the end. If you want a name, here's the name. It's John Dozy. And that's the only one with the name.
So guys, another question? Come on, we got more cool free stuff. I know you want free stuff. I'm going to start walking out there and sitting on people's laps. I want another goddamn question. Let's go.
The next question gets a free collector's double disc DVD.
It's the big guy in the back.
I'm saying it, so you got it, buddy.
I love horror movies. I try to get like a lot of my friends and family, into like the older stuff. What I liked about the film was the fact that it didn't look Hollywood. There was no CG, there was no special effects. Everything was like makeup and everything. So what I liked about it, and one of my questions was, did you kind of feel like, as far as like the whole like kids dying and all that stuff? Because I know like a lot of like Hollywood films kind of frown upon that stuff, whereas the fact that little kids, like they try to keep that stuff away from the movies or whatever. When you guys are doing that, did you ever feel like, oh well, maybe we should kind of like
Now I'm gonna give this one to you because you're the one that told us to push the envelope on that. Told me I'm
No.
the twisted one.
No, not in the least. That was in the script. I said, Chris, we've got to kill the kids. And when you're saying about CGI,
Dude, I agree with you. I agree with you
I said we
that
have to
gotta
push
kill
it.
him.
We have to push it, and the way the film is structured, you know, the first story is kind of off-screen violence, it kind of leads up, it's like, oh, okay, I can handle this. Then the second one gets a little more intense, and by the time Hans is on that table, we want people to start walking out. And that's exactly what happened. Hans and I was in the back, and people were walking out because they just couldn't take it. And I actually made one family stay for the fingernails thing. And they were like, stay. I was like, please, just stay and see this one last thing. And it pretty much traumatized them, I think. And I love that. And the whole point was to build up to the weed whacker thing, like just balls to the wall horror.
And that's important there. You had pace and you knew that you were building to a conclusion. It wasn't just, we got to get gore there in the first 5 minutes. We got to get their attention. We got to get them right away. We got to hook them with the gore.
Yeah.
This whole thing started just because I wanted to see somebody get fucked up with a weed whacker. I built a whole idea in the story just built around that, was just ending with somebody getting attacked with a weed whacker.
Going back to the kids though, that was a very fine line we walked because we didn't want people to be so upset that we would possibly get banned. We just wanted them to be upset enough to maybe say it was way too disturbing or have parents be upset because, hey, if the parents are upset, the kids want to watch it. It's way better when you know someone's a little pissed off. But it's off camera. You don't see the kids die on camera. You know they're dead, which people tend to try and confuse and still say we killed on screen. You might hear a sound or two.
Not for lack of wanting to, though. I mean,
Exactly. We were being very respectful to the parents.
we shot this in 14 days, and you know, there's a lot.
We shot in 14 days, and there was a lot that we would have loved to have done. And I think that was one of them, was the two kids fighting.
Truth be told, we had an amazing stunt double for the kid in the bag scene, and that's really what tied it all together.
The poor kid in the bag, I think it was the second take, the bag went over his head, and he sucked the bag into his throat, and he freaked out, and he was completely freaked out for the rest of the shoot. So, luckily for us, we got one good take, and all the close-ups and all that were Chris and the guy in the kid's shirt with the bag.
But as parents were on set,
Yeah,
and they saw the whole
cool.
thing, we made sure all the parents were on set while we did it, and they knew exactly what was going to happen. So the parents were all very cool, and they knew it wasn't our fault that he got freaked out, and we definitely stopped everything and made sure he was okay. And they weren't upset with us, which as long as the real parents aren't upset, no one else can be really upset, right? That's kind of the rule.
I have a question. Oddly enough, the violence and the gore, all that, it didn't bother me, which is kind of disturbing. Or should be. But the part that really freaked me out, and it was just a small thing, was where he really ripped into the grieving mother. I thought that was so weird. And it kind of pushed a button there. I was like, this guy is sick, because who does that?
That was almost the entire motivation behind that scene being in there, is you saw the physical side and the physical violence, but I just wanted people to see how really just this guy doesn't give a shit at your misery, your pain, your anything, and actually relishes in it and kind of likes to twist the knife a little bit there. And that was like more of a psychological attachment to that character. That was the entire motivation for that scene, really.
He probably scared me more there in that scene.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a good compliment. Anybody else? Hart, can we give a free American Horror subscription away to the next question?
Yeah, next question gets a free 1-month subscription to American Horror. So let's see those fucking hands go up, dickhead.
There you go.
All right, we got you right there, my favorite dickhead in the audience. What's your question, sir?
Just a simple one. What do you think your next movie's going to be about?
I'll answer and then I'll let Ray.
Whatever anybody gives them some fucking money to make.
Yeah. Ideally, we've got the next 10 to 15 years kind of mapped out on how we want things to go and the projects we'd like to make if we control our own destiny. But to capitalize on the momentum with things that are happening and trying to get the distribution deals, and the film's going to be at the American Film Market next week, we're really trying to put ourselves in positions with the whole franchise right now. We've got a second, third to wrap up a trilogy that once completed will hopefully be done in a way, well, I mean, we're the ones doing it, so. Our goal is to do it in a way that you can watch any one of the films in any given order, and you'll still see the same linear story of the life and death of this house, but you'll find out different things in a different order that don't give away anything else. You just see everything from different perspectives. So there's no real true order of the films other than the order they were made in. Beyond that, we've got the spin-off franchise already written, which is actually the origin story of the John Dorsey character, how he came about, why he ended up in that house, why he chose that girl, and it actually is kind of like a 3A. It's almost like another completion of the franchise because you find out other details and information that goes to all of that, but it's completely independent of all that stuff as well. So those are the ones that are written and ready to go, and we've got a lot of other things that we're planning to do eventually.
Oh, that was what I was going to say too. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing the John Dorsey spinoff. It's going to be pretty cool. So yeah, that's what we have coming up. Trying to get the sequels done. We're going to try to do them all back to back. So it's going to be a challenge and fun at the same time. You know.
I have another question. Like this guy over here was talking about with the whole killing the whole family thing from the one guy. I was wondering, did the backstory of the things he had to see, was that really necessary? Because I was liking the idea of him just killing over the weed whack.
See, I would totally agree with you on that, but for a motivation sense and a standpoint, I wanted people to see. I'm a big society guy, and I feel like too many people turn the other cheek, and there's no consequences to the bad people in this world. And he's kind of the extreme the other way. That he's just so sick and tired of this shit. And I wanted people to see that these people weren't good people. They didn't have any respect for anything, and he took it to the extreme the other way, and just finally wore on them. And you'll eventually find out there's reasons for his short temper. But it was more, I just wanted people to see that bad people with bad character flaws and that, there should be consequences and repercussions for these people. I mean, the turn the other cheek mentality is become a cancer that breeds more and more retards.
Dude, I don't want to hear any shit about karma. I'm going to punch you in the face. You know what karma is? It's this hand, right here. This is karma. I don't want to hear any more passive-aggressive shit about it goes around, it comes around, la 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 la. We totally see eye to eye on that, and that's very much a philosophy of American horror. We will seek you out and put you in your fucking grave. Fuck that waiting around for karma crap. Nice. You know, we bring the pain. That's what we're about. That's why I brought the perfect house here.
Yeah, so eventually everyone in this movie will kind of come back in the sequels for the most part. So, you like
even the dead guys?
I'm not going to say too much, but
Not as ghosts.
not as ghosts. There's
We're
no
not
ghosts.
turning into a ghost story.
But so yeah, if you like the particular,
You know, it's not the perfect paranormal house.
Is there any unanswered questions that anyone had?
Does anybody really own that house?
His grandpa.
Yeah, that's actually my grandfather's house. And it's actually the house I wrote the story with in mind. Yeah, I mean, in real life, he owns the house, and in the story life, there's a revolving door of owners. The real estate agent, I will say, is the key to pretty much everything, and there's a substantial reason for that, and she is the key component that ties everything together.
The real agent or the story agent?
The story agent, yeah.
The sexy redhead.
Well, guys, we got time for one last question. So if you're dying to know, ask it now.
Favorite horror films?
Well, wait, he asked real quick, but let's get him.
And on mine.
Go ahead and hit you too. So what's your question, sir?
All right, I'm just wondering, what's the best way to support you guys, really help you out?
Go on Facebook.
Buy the goddamn movie. What do you mean was the best way to help them out? Jesus, didn't I just say they're going to eat peanut butter jelly?
You just got to collect the DVD, my friend. Go on Facebook, go out there and do confessions. Tell your friends, go on Facebook, share the page.
Definitely tell your friends. That's really important.
That would be awesome.
Share it. You know, like us on Facebook. Just keep spreading the word, my friends.
I mean, it's great to hit the like button, but if you hit the share so it's on
Hit the
your
share.
wall, that
Share.
would be awesome.
Share.
People
Share that
forget
damn
about
thing,
that
yeah.
awesome.
That too. You know, Chris does a little dance when you start throwing dollars at him.
Make it rain. We like rain.
Yeah, I mean, really,
He hung out with the Chippendales guy the whole shoot. Are you kidding me? Chris got really good. I saw some behind-the-scenes footage that we're not going to be allowed to put on the air, and he's Chippendale the shit out of that stuff.
Basically, social media and just being a fan and being supportive and you know, trying to become friends of ours. I mean, I'm not just saying that in the Facebook sense. There's a lot of people that have become, that started out following what we're doing, that are now some of our closest friends and some of our closest allies in what we're doing here. One of our biggest fans that supported everything we did, followed everything we did on Facebook, was one of the key ingredients to the 2-month tour, because he packed up his projector, his $3,000-4,000 projector, never met us from Adam and Eve, shipped it across the country to Los Angeles, and let us use his projector as we drove around the country to do these screenings and stuff. We ended up getting to his house along the way in New York. He put us up for a couple days, came on the road with us for 2 weeks, and helped to manage a lot of the media stuff, the Facebook sharing, and built the website for us, and has become one of our closest friends now from this whole journey. And for him, it's so funny, because he treats it like a fanboy experience, and we're like, dude, why are you fanboying out because you're in a shitty, miserable RV that we can see through the ceiling on, and hell, I'm like, I envy you for coming here, not the other way around. But like, we just want to meet people like us that are just about something new and about whatever it takes, and just we want to make you guys as much good stuff as we can. And just being friends and fans and following along the journey is the most support we could ask for.
If you have any ideas about any other screenings around here, whatever, let us know. We'll screen it anywhere.
Literally.
Literally.
We've got the proof.
We just want to show the movie to people.
Anybody else have a question?
For the two that have the collector DVDs and the one that got the free American Horror screen, come up afterwards so we can take down your information and make sure you guys get that. If anyone would like to order the pre-limited edition DVDs, it is going the traditional DVD route, so the DVDs will probably be available, the normal routines in the spring. But right now, we're doing a collector set that has all the stuff from the tour, the photos, the stuff from the making of the film, and the film itself, with an autographed 8x10 headshot that you'll be able to pick out from the Facebook images. One of a kind, so each double disc gets one 8x10 that nobody else will have. It's all autographed, individually numbered, and they're at $20, and they're going to ship December 1st. So if anybody wants the DVDs, please help us out and grab one. We need gas money to get home later today.
Pre-orders for those are ending November 1st, so you only have 2 days left. If you do go on Facebook, you can order it there under the
order
shop
on Facebook
tab.
as well. It's $25 on Facebook though.
So, just letting you guys know, last 2 days chance to be able to get those before you have to wait for the normal companies to eventually get around.
There will be an alternate. There's an alternate ending on the DVD too.
I
knew that gets you.
The very funny voice in there too. You'll see why it's an alternate ending.
Anything we reshot.
And let's wrap up with the answer to his question.
Yeah, each of you pick one horror movie. If you could only go home and watch one horror movie right now.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original.
Nice.
It's not my favorite horror movie, but it's definitely the one that scared the shit out of me the most when I was a kid and made me stop watching horror movies. It's the Lady in White, which doesn't get as scary when you look back on it. But when you realize it's the mother who's the boss, it's not quite as scary as it was.
Did you just give it away?
No, it's not a kid. She's one of the characters. But
I actually like the original Fright Night. Just got to see the remake. The original, oh.
I like the original.
They should leave originals alone. They're original for a reason. They're good.
Dead Alive. Do you know who directed Dead Alive?
Oh. You
Peter
did.
Jackson. To see him do that and then go from Lord to Lord of the Rings was just astounding.
What about you, Hart?
For me, the easiest thing is that John Carpenter's The Thing. I watched that movie, and especially because they're playing it on cable a lot, and it's one of those, I decided it's a favorite film by how many times I watch it. So if I can keep watching it, then it's a favorite. You know what I mean? Like pizza, it's my favorite slice, I'm going to keep eating that shit. But it's definitely John Carpenter's The Thing, for sure.
I got it.
That's that.
I got John Carpenter's autograph.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I gave him 3 books.
Picture of the head too. And he got a picture of the head.
Well, guys, we really want to thank you for coming out. You know, this has been amazing. You've been a great crowd. Labor coming out! Now come down to our booth. You know, we've got some confessionals outside. We want to shoot you guys if you want to talk and be on the air on American Horror.
Come on up so we can get your info.
And if you got the free DVD, come up here. We need to get your information. We do have more products for sale down at booth 305. Sales pitch. But wait, there's more.
Buy my shit.
No, I love movies.
Oh, wait.
Fucking house you can use if you need a home where that guy used to live. My home is 6 acres of fucking creepy. Here we go. There's your door. You got it's local neighbors. And your address and your email address. And make sure to get that all set up for you.